Hello and welcome to Game 3 of ZOTAC Finals number 259 between eMaL spawning as the blue orc on the left side of the map versus Rain spawning as the dark green undead on the right side of the map. Here we do see Rain doing a standard fiend build, and over here we do see eMaL doing a fairly standard orc opening here. With this sort of orc opening, I expect a shop to be over here. He'll probably creep this, and then maybe item creep this ogre magi. Maybe come over here to this shop, or maybe harass. You might also just creep this and then harass, or maybe even just come over here and then harass. But what I'm expecting is a shop right about here. Creep this, do this, then maybe harass. But we'll see what happens. We will see. And with over here with Rain, I expect him to maybe creep this, and then maybe try to creep this, or maybe go down this way. Lots of options here between the two players. As you can see, I've clearly run out of stuff to say at the start of games. I have. I can predict creep patterns, and that's about it. But anyway, I will go ahead and reveal the score of the last two games, as this is game 3. If you don't want to find out, go ahead and mute your speakers, your sound, whatever, until I move my camera back to one of the players' bases. So as long as it's over this tavern, it's not safe. So go ahead and mute if you don't want the past two games spoiled. And I'll give you about 3 seconds to do that. Okay, the results of the first two games are eMaL. He's up 2 games, and that means he can win. If he wins this game, he wins the entire ZOTAC Finals. If Rain, however, wins this game, he still needs to win the next 2 in order to actually go ahead and pull out a ZOTAC victory. So, here we do see, here is eMaL creeping out this. He has gone ahead and got a Gloves of Haste, which is a nice item to start with. He's gone ahead and creeping that. Over here we can see that we do have a fiend who is pulling out the creeps over here, which is what you expect, especially on this map with this little thing. One of the reasons you want to start this creep early is because it's very common for orcs to come over here and jack you while you're in the middle of this, maybe steal your item or something, and so you want to generally get this done before, and that's why you see him coiling that. Just all of that, it comes down to not wanting to get jacked, but it looks like, in fact, eMaL is going to go ahead and open on this, and actually it looks like he does not manage to break his wind walk on the ogre magi. It won't be a huge deal, but it will mean that he's a little bit more susceptible to the death knight if he comes over here and it manages to harass. He's not going to die, I don't think, because he's, as you can see, he's got plenty of life. But he will get a lot lower, and we'll see what happens. He's very low. As you can see, he's very low, down to 2 coils to kill him, instead of just 1, or instead of 3. But it looks like he's gonna be just fine and get away from this, no problem. And I said it's. Oh, I guess it's 140 life for 2 coils. Yeah, anyway, that's what I said. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, getting a little confused here, but don't worry too much about it. Right, and here we do see these are the fiends. Here we do see the Death Knight. He knew that because this did not get attacked by the Blade Master, that chances were the Blade Master was over here creeping out the item, and he went ahead and checked and made sure, and that is indeed the case. Now he figures he's probably safe for a little bit, not from the grunts, but from the Blade Master. The Blade Master does need to go down here and buy boots, and as you can see, it's time of the day for that to happen. At the 2, when this is the blue spawn, just I think a little bit before this second orb up here actually appears and starts to glow. So just a little bit before that is when boots usually spawns, I do believe. And over here you can see that the orc is almost here too. You can see the undead just beginning his tech. And obviously a little bit of skeleton harass has gone on over here and the undead base, and we do see some more skeletons are going to go over there and do some more harass on those peasant lines. It looks like even more skeletons are on the way. So it's really nice to see this many skeletons harass that peon line, and as we saw last game, it was enough to cause eMaL to throw down 2 watchtowers. Here we do see eMaL going ahead and creeping out very aggressively. It looks like the Death Knight was able to steal some XP right there on that Forest Troll. Unfortunately for him, however, that was his gold mine, and with the orc having the experience from it, that's not good. He does need to be. This is a very small map with a very limited amount of creeping camps that he can actually go ahead and creep out. And here we do see eMaL is going to go ahead and come in here with his Blade Master, just do some damage where he can. And we do see dust immediately being used on the Blade Master. Blade Master really not too worried about it. He does have a ton of armor, as you can see, which gives him a lot of resistance to this physical damage that he is taking. And if we look over here, we can see that the Death Knight is going to go ahead and probably pull up some skeletons, maybe from these creeps, or maybe just go ahead and come down here and creep these Murlocs. Either way, we'll see the eMaL coming over here to creep out this shop, it looks like, and That's pretty good, and we do see there are 4 fiends in play now. That's usually the magic number a lot of times. Some undeads will like to go to 5, but the magic number is at least 4, which allows you to really start taking some fights, especially once your Lich gets into this, and a statue where you have frost armor, and that will allow you to really take a lot of a little bit of the engagements to make it to your favor in the early on in tier 2. We do see sentry wards being picked up by eMaL, skeletons running by and scouting that this was in fact being crept out by the orc, which is what he expected. I believe that's why he sent his skeletons right through there. And we do see him running back this way, just trying to avoid the orc detection by the orc. And the orc is going to go ahead and say, oh, well, he's either creeping this or he's just crept this because there are no skeletons here, there's no creeps here. And if we look over here, we can see the skeletons are indeed right there, and he's going to find that right about now. So really nice play by Rain just to go ahead and evade the orc's detection right there. Here we do see that he is on his way to tier 3. We do have Burrow and Lich being researched. These are really nice to have. And it's one of the ways you can play is as undead, where you basically get your option between tier 3, Lich, Burrow, and Slaughterhouse. You get pretty much any 3 of those. You generally don't get all 4 of them at the same time, and that's what Rain went ahead and gone for. This is a very aggressive tech. Basically allows you to go ahead and throw down your Slaughterhouse and have your first fiend out, or your first statue out, right about the time as you hit tier 3. I believe that's the timing on this, and it's nice to do that because what that does is that means that when you hit tier 3, you have a very nice, very strong army. Unfortunately, we do see what was I saying? Unfortunately, the reason this is aggressive is because the Blade Master can come in here and cancel the Slaughterhouse fairly easily. But we do see the Lich in the base going ahead and using Frost Armor on herself. Not going to try to come over here and find this, join up with the undead army, because unfortunately, it's a bit of a scary proposition. Here we do see a Fiend taking a lot of damage, being opened on by the Blade Master, going ahead and burrowing, just getting coiled in the nick of time. And is the undead going to go ahead and finish creeping off this before he TPs, or is he's going to go ahead and immediately TP out, leaving a couple of these creeps up, and he's going to go ahead and join up with the Lich at this point. We do see he's very close to tier 3. It looks like actually I was wrong. That statue that is going to take a little bit into tier 3 to come out, it looks like. I'm not quite sure. It's going to be really close either way, but that is, I believe, the timing, and I think I was right. Yeah, I think I was right. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Yeah, that looks fine though. Yeah, that looks fine. And so anyway, we do see over here more skeletons. We do see a watchtower already up just to help deal with that. We do see these wards placed in pretty good positions. And if we look, we can see, let me go to eMaL's point of view. Here's the wards. We have one right there and one right here, which basically lets him know if Rain decides to come to his side of the map at all, he's going to know about it. Unless Rain really just had to be really sneaky and come down through this way and then go alongside the bottom. But that's quite unlikely, especially because I don't know if he knows where those wards are. And I don't think he does, because I know we saw him having the wards. He did run his skeletons by the Blade Master as it crept it. But here we do see actually a skeleton, or an expansion going down, a skeleton immediately scouting it. So that's really nice scouting by Rain. And here we do see this is the orc. He's going to go ahead and try to kill the statue with that ensnare, and of course there isn't a destroyer research finished just yet. We do see this happening. However, it's not really too bad of a position just yet, because Rain does a really good position on this fight, and as you can see, that statue is able to get away just in the nick of time. It looks like he's going to go ahead and go down to a wind walk from the Blade Master. However, and it does happen, a Raider does die. We have a burrowed Crypt Fiend at full life. A ghoul going down, and we do see this Blade Master taking a ton of damage, and we do have a pretty poor stomp right there, only hitting the Death Knight and the Lich and one Fiend. And we do see a lot of damage going off onto this Blade Master, being forced to speed scroll away, and we do have positioning buying right there, and we do see that another grunt will go down, and this turned out to be quite good for Rain. This fight very, very much in his favor. He might be able to pick off this Kodo Beast as well. It probably will. The only issue at this point is that he is running around with a very low HP Death Knight, but it does have Frost Armor on it, so it's not too bad. And if we look over here, we can see that the Orc is running away, so there's not really going to be much going on there. This is also very important that he won that fight, because this expansion is going up, and if he is able to go ahead and get down there and do something to that, particularly cancel the expansion, that would be really nice for him. We'll see he does go ahead and he is buying out a Dreadlord as his third hero. Looks like eMaL is still at tier 2, but he is getting up another Raider. This is a pretty standard push, a pretty standard build from Orcs. We actually used to see this a lot more often, and for a while there was a pretty good counter to it, where you'd go fast tier 3 as the Undead and grab a Pit Lord, and then see a really nice push here. But that kind of has changed a little bit, and we don't see that quite nearly as much, but that definitely was the old way to play against all of this. Now, here we do see the orc just kind of sitting outside of the undead's base, really not doing too much, but basically just trying to say, you know, if this orc gives me a chance, or if the undead gives me a chance, I will go ahead and abuse some positioning and maybe speed scroll in and try to win this fight. I think he's just wanting to say, you know, I didn't do too well originally in that fight I just took, and so I'd like to make up for that if I can. Unfortunately, he is going to go ahead and go creep a little bit. He is level 3 on both of his heroes versus level 3 and 1, so he does have the experience advantage, but he is only at 2 heroes versus now 3 heroes. Now, this is an interesting choice to have the Death Knight and the Dreadlord right here taking experience from the Lich, because the Lich could use Frost Nova. It's very nice. And here we do see this is actually finished now. The Great Hall has gone up. This is the expansion, and Rain knows it's up, but he's just biding his time, and he does have time to bide, in fact. He does have time, because this takes a little while to pay off. And so he's not in a huge position here to have to rush or anything. But eMaL is going to start going ahead and being able to break upkeep here very, very shortly. If he wants to go ahead and throw down maybe one more burrow before he does it, that I wouldn't be shocked by that. But in fact, he goes ahead and breaks upkeep right there once that Kodo Beast finishes, and he can get both of the barracks and the Beastry breaking upkeep at the same time. So just being as efficient as he can. We do see the skeleton right there. I don't think it does in fact see it. I'm not sure why he's not actually attacking something with it. There he goes. It's not going to do a whole lot, but it might do a little bit. It might matter later on in the game. We'll see. If we look over here, we will see that he is not able to bank for very long. He does pretty much go right into 51 food. Right there, as I looked over there, we saw that he just went ahead and queued up a Fiend and a Statue. And I believe Destroyer Form has been researched. Destroyer Form is very, very strong against, or Destroyers are very strong against these sort of army, because there is really nothing to deal with it except for the Blade Masters, or... I'm sorry, I'm jumbling over my words here. Really, the only thing that can deal with the destroyers effectively is a Orb of Lightning on the Blade Master, generally speaking, or something like Bats, or a very nice Headhunter army with some Berserkers in there. But we don't really see any of that. In this case, we just see Raiders, which can also deal with them, but not if there's a bunch of them. And so we're going to see how this plays out, because he is going to be doing what he looks like a fairly large destroyer push here. It might just work, and if it works, it's going to work really well. Here we can see that there is level 2 on the Lich, as well as the Dreadlord and the Death Knight. Over here we can see that the Orc is doing just fine. You know, he's doing just fine. He's sitting here. He is working on getting up the army of getting those headhunters, the destroyers, or whatever he wants to have to counter basically whatever the undead can throw at him. It's not having Spirit Link. That's one of the things about it. Spirit Link isn't the greatest thing against destroyers, and I'm not sure if he knows that's what's coming, but I think he can kind of guess, given that's just the kind of army, you know, just the kind of army that we do see against. Again, it's really distracting reading this chat. I wish I could have. I have a way to actually wipe the chat, and I meant to use it, and I forgot to do it. So I'll try to keep that in mind from now on. Or at least I think I do. It used to work. We'll see if it works still. I think it will. But yeah, it's chat, very distracting chat. I'm trying not to read it, but it keeps popping in my head. But anyway, I'm not quite sure what I was saying. But, you know, the Orc not doing too bad, just because he does happen to have the ability to bide time here. But a big enough destroyer push here could be dangerous for him, because, like I said, we do see a really nice army from the undead. And so we'll see what happens. But... because really this could go either way. I think this fight is probably going to go in Rain's favor. We will see. It does look like it's going to go in Rain's favor, but the experience advantage is for the Orc. So he does have 3-3, but again, with, you know, 4-2-2, I guess I'm not really sure who has the real experience advantage in that case. But it's nice either way. We do see that these are, these definitely are suffering from a lack of upgrades, but we do see that there is armor on them. Armor is a nice upgrade. I think generally that we would prefer our attack damage here with a destroyer push, but I guess we'll see what happens. And we see a couple items being sold. A healing scroll being picked up. We do have a ghoul coming into this. This is kind of be a big fight right here. We do see the destroyers are being morphed, and we do have the scroll of protection. So he's going a lot on armor. He's definitely going for a very heavy armor thing. This will allow him to have 4 armor on all of his fiends, and I don't think it'll affect the destroyers. But here we do see the destroyers getting morphed, and if we look over here, we can see that he's just waiting on resources. The Orc has a couple options here. He can just go ahead and go straight for the undead's base with a couple of speed scrolls and try to get there and maybe base race, but it looks like this expansion is going to go down if there's not a TP very quickly. And so what's going to happen, I'm not sure. It looks like he's just going to run down here. And it looks like if Rain decides, he could just go ahead and kill this and then TP out after nuking the peons, which would also be a viable thing. eMaL just does not have time to get into a position here. So he's doing what he wants to do, or not doing what he wants to do. He's trying to get into a good position, waiting on the army to get there. And here we do see the TP coming out from Rain, going ahead and burrowing his fiend so he doesn't lose any. Really nicely done by Rain. Unfortunately, quite an unfortunate play by eMaL, because he had all of his army up here. He just didn't have enough scouting information, I think, to see that coming. Otherwise, he would have been in a good, better position for that. But as it was, not really that good of a position. Here we do see it's still at tier 2. Actually, it's very possible now that I think Rain could definitely take this game. He's looking in a really good position here. And it really wouldn't be all that difficult. The Orc is still tier 2, and Rain's army is quite nice. He has still got 4,000 more gold, so he can really bolster this army if he wants to. Of course, he could do it with the Banshees, as the chat said, or he could really just do just about whatever he wants, really. Some A-bombs. I mean, tier 3 units, it's going to be very possible to really just destroy a lot of this army very quickly. Of course, you do have to make the decision: do you focus down the heroes or do you focus down the army? And that's a pretty big decision, because here we do see eMaL is actually going to go ahead and start to put that expansion back up. But again, really, you do have to consider if you focus down the heroes, that's a lot of their damage. But if you focus down the army, you get really high level heroes. So it just depends on what he wants to do. We'll see what happens here. And he does go ahead and throw down a Temple of the Damned. It looks like he is indeed going to get some Banshees out, which would be nice to get him up to 80 food. I think this would be a good time to go ahead and go to straight 100 food as an undead. It's something that you normally don't want to do, but in this case, I think he very well could do it. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to get this, and if he goes ahead and manages to get to 100 food, if he makes just enough to do that, by the time this is done and really kicks back in again, he'll have very close to 100 food, and it will be able to easily just walk over this Orc's army. So we're going to see what happens, but the Orc is getting into a very aggressive position at this point, and he might actually go ahead and decide to do an attack. We do see the Undead is only at 70 food, but also the Orc is only at 70 food, so this is a very even fight in terms of food count, with item advantage probably being to the Orc. He has had map control for a while. That TC has some really nice items. The Blade Master has some really nice items as well, versus not that great of items on the undead heroes, but they will do in a fight, I think. We'll see what happens here, and we do see the Lich immediately taking a lot of damage. Speed scrolling in with the Orc's units. We do see a sleep going off on the Blade Master. Sorry about that. A sleep on the Tauren Chieftain. A lot going on right here. Jeez, okay. This fight not going too well for the Orc. Being forced to run away with this Blade Master. The Blade Master goes down. I'm not sure why. Jeez, why is my voice not happy with me? Anyway, I didn't get to commentate that fight at all, basically. But that's yeah, Rain convincingly winning that fight. The Blade Master going down. A lot of Orc units dying, the little ones. Here you see two statues, very low HP, and these two ghouls running away. What's gonna happen? I don't know. Drinking a lot of water, it's not helping. Okay. The Blade Master is back out. And you do see the rest of the Orc armies running away, down to 57 food over here for Rain at 67 food. They were both at 70, so definitely a nice positioning for Rain. I'm just going to take a second here just to break, but I will recap. That was a very nice winning fight, a very nice fight won by Rain. There you go. Now, we do see Rain going ahead and picking up an Invo potion on his Death Knight. One of the observers saying next map, definitely going ahead and giving this win already to Rain. I don't think the game is over just yet, but as you can see, the Orc's army is back built up again. Not to the greatest standard, but definitely in a fightable position here. So we will see Rain going ahead and taking a very nice position here with his units and giving him a nice bit of choke. Here we see that eMaL is going to come in from the back. Not the greatest positioning for Rain in this fight. Again, one of the destroyers statues immediately going down. The Dreadlord taking a ton of damage. Is it going to be fine? It's going to go ahead and get coiled. He is ensnared, going ahead and sleeping the Blade Master. There is no way to pass that Invoke Potion to the Dreadlord. The Dreadlord goes down. Raider goes down. And we see eMaL doing pretty well in this fight so far, actually taking the superior positioning with this fight. The Blade Master running away, attacking the Lich. And the Lich forcing a TP. But we do see Rain's expansion is going up. So, you know, I'm just going to have to pause this game for just a second and give me something to drink. I'll be right back. And I'm back. Sorry about that. I'm just going to go ahead and unpause this. Just a reminder, drink water all day. It's really important for your health and your voice. So, we're going to go ahead and get back into this fight, or this game. And let's see if I remember what is going on. We do have the Lich and the Death Knight running down with the Banshees, and we can see that there's actually up to down to 57 food. That's right, he did just take unfortunately a catastrophic fight right here. And over here we can see this is eMaL's army doing quite well. Level 4 Blade Master, level 4 Torn Chieftain. Unfortunately, Rain had such a good position, but then eMaL coming in from the bottom kind of flipped it on him. So unfortunate there. Here we do see this is Rain's expansion getting up. Has not paid off yet, but it is on its way. However, we do see that eMaL is coming in here to go ahead and try to make it not pay off. He wants to go ahead and stop it, and he can probably win this fight. This is not a great fight looking for Rain. Here we do see immediately a ton of focus fire on that Death Knight. And with a Speed Scroll, we do see that he is in fact going to go ahead and Death Pact a Fiend. Unfortunately, he is running away, not really doing the best here, not able to keep too much alive, but we do see the Lich taking a lot of focus fire right there. The Blade Master having to run away after taking a little bit of focus fire as well. And here we do see that the Fiend is being burrowed and killed. Dust is off. The Blade Master again taking a lot of damage, being forced out of the fight completely. And Torn Chieftain, is it going to go down? No, it has an Invoke Potion. War Stomps, however, the DK does use an Invoke Potion at the same time, narrowly avoiding being stunned. The Orc is losing this fight, but here comes the BM, the Blade Master, onto the Death Knight. The Death Knight does Fiend, he does Death Pact the Fiend. Blade Master almost going down at 30 life, and he Invoke Potions, and the Death Knight goes down. And the Blade Master gets away. Holy crap. I thought my voice was fine too, and unfortunately it just died out again. Unfortunate, and that's not good. But yeah, basically I thought the Undead was starting to win the fight, and unfortunately the Death Knight, or the Blade Master, just came in at very low HP with a Invoke Potion he had just bought and used it and managed to pick off the Death Knight. So managed to turn that around. This is now looking very good in favor for eMaL. Very, very close to winning this fight, this game. Here we do see, it appears that the Death Knight has been bought back from the tavern, almost level 5. If he can get level 5, that might be really what he needs to go ahead and turn this around. Maybe. He really would have a lot more nuking power that way. And that might be enough, but he does not have any mana. And over here we can see the Lich not really sitting too much on mana either. Maybe a Frost Armor and a Nova. Maybe 2 Frost Armors by the time this work gets over there. We'll see what happens, but the Orc army is really regenerating itself a lot faster than the Undead army. Here we can see the Orc army up by 10 food. And you can actually bring in peons as well at this point if you wanted to. We're going to have to wait and see what happens here. We do see a Sacrificial Pit being thrown down as well as a shop. If some of these towers were to manage to get up, then that would be good. But we do see the Orc is coming in here. He's going to go ahead and try to stop any units from coming back down here to reinforce this position. Narrowly not getting us in snare off on that Crypt Fiend. I'm not sure what happened there, but here we do see a Banshee going ahead and going back into the base. Rain being wise to the fact that that's what the Orc is doing, trying to stop any kind of reinforcements. And really, this is not going to be the greatest position for for Rain to have to fight in. One of these Banshees has been ensnared, and the graveyard is going to go down to these Raiders. Not a lot you can do about that. We do see this Banshee is going to go down. One of the Raiders has been cursed. Here we do see, here comes Rain. Not in the greatest position. He's out in the open. He really doesn't want to fight here, but he is going to have to take this fight due to ensnares. We do have the Tauren Chieftain is slept. The Death Knight taking a lot of damage, but he does have a Death Pact going off and a TP, so he's not in terrible shape here. Here we do see running in. Here comes the War Stomp. Right before the War Stomp goes off, he gets slept, and of course, and he went to get another Death Pact, and the War Stomp killed him. Unfortunate. Here we see that the Dreadlord is running away with very low HP. Of course, without the Death Knight in this fight, it's going to be very difficult to win this game at all. It looks like it's going to lose yet his Lich as well. The Lich does go ahead and get War Stomped, and it's probably going to go down. The Lich goes down right after he killed a Raider with a Frost Novus. There you have it, folks. eMaL winning game 3. And let's just go ahead and see. Yeah. Okay, you know what? I highly advise stopping the video now if you did not watch this sequentially. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Yeah, so congratulations to eMaL. He did, in fact, win ZOTAC number 259 finals. Very nice, very intense game right there. Unfortunately, I don't have enough time to really redo that last bit because my voice did go ahead and die out. If I had more time, I would. I feel a little bit bad about it, but it's the way it is, and hopefully I'll remember to stay better hydrated throughout the day so that does not happen again. Sorry about that, but that is game 3, 3-0 for eMaL, and I'm going to go ahead and try to get some more another game cast today. I probably won't be able to do it, but my goal is also the next bit of games that I will be bringing you guys is going to be Rain versus Lucifer in the semifinals, best of 3. Very exciting games right there. I'm sure I haven't seen them, but I can only imagine that those are going to be some very exciting games, both of them fighting for a finals position. It's going to be quite interesting, although we do know, now if you watch this, you do know who actually came out on top, but you don't know the results if it was 2-1 or 1-2 or 2-0. We'll find out, and that'll be next time.